I must talk it.
Why does everyone want to kill the lion? How's it, guys? We are here in
We're
Arabi.
gonna edit that out, right?
We will try to edit that out.
I'm sure we can add.
No, just take your foot out of the picture.
Okay, sorry, man.
Let's just move in.
Just shuffle. Okay, there we go. Wait,
Okay,
there
yeah,
we
you
go.
guys are squeezy ride all the way from Arusha to here.
Arusha.
Arusha, we arrived safely, so we are very excited and here to give you some feedback. Well, first of all, I think the team is doing good. We are getting to the realization that time is running out. Some of our team members are already flying home in the next 5 days, and the next one in 6 days. And then the hardcore boys will stay until everything is sorted. Yeah. But beside that, oh, we love you, David.
We use like a minute just to talk about stuff.
Yeah. So give us then feedback out of the meetings we had in Arusha.
Well, first I have
Tanzania.
to say is I've only been into Tanzania once previously, and from everybody that I've heard from is that it's very, very not a thing that you see every day. Is that Kilimanjaro is open. So we were driving from Iringa to Moshi, but further closer to Moshi, and there we saw Kilimanjaro, and it was totally open. And on the side of the mountain there was like a only cloud that was on the side of Kilimanjaro. This Kilimanjaro was like a pinkish rain that fell there. It was amazing. It was the prettiest thing I've ever seen. And
Yeah, I would say my wife is prettier, but okay.
in any case, so but yeah,
Sorry, Erika.
we
Good luck with that one.
so
pal.
we had our meetings in Tanzania.
That white snow was almost as red, pinkish color as his skin at the moment.
This is sun.
In
In any case, so we had our meetings. We had connected with Michael Murphy. Damien connected with Michael Murphy, and he got together about 30 people, if I can make a quick guess, of younger leaders.
We're happy with what you said.
And it was really great. You're making me cough. We had about 30 people that was there present, and great stories that we've heard. There were some people called, or from an organization called YSSM, called.
I don't know. This is probably the most abstract video we've done so far.
I think we are tired, but so there was. There was a youth meeting, a youth organization called the YSSM. It's a student-based organization, and it stands for Youth Shaping and Sharpening Ministry
Movement.
Movement.
Get it right.
And basically what they were doing is going around in campuses and giving lectures or seminars to people. So they would get the students there by saying we have entrepreneurial course taught by Tanzanians. Tanzanians or Tanzanians?
People from Tanzania.
People from Tanzania on entrepreneurship or farming, and people will come to the seminars, but then they will also use it as a platform to preach to them, or almost like a crusade, but also have Q&A on faith. And that was quite awesome for me that we are serious now. And it was awesome to see how they also not only are interested in people's spiritual life, but also want to help them in their physical sense as well.
But even with that as well, there was an intention amongst them to say, okay, well, what are the challenges that you are facing within your student life?
Yeah.
And other people are getting involved. So they actually went out and they sat down and discussed and asked the question, what are you guys facing and what are the issues you're facing? And then they've continued to organize further conferences and seminars to gather youth together to discuss those issues, to actually and get senior leaders or senior people engaged to actually share on that specific topic. So there is that element as well where they're not just using the entrepreneurship to gather people in, they're actually trying to go deeper, which is which is great. Which is which brings in the element of discipleship that we don't necessarily always see when it comes to the traditional evangelism methods.
And it's not a small movement, huh?
No.
I mean, they said that they divided the country into 25 regions, and at each region they gather between anything from 40, 50 people up to some places up to 400 people at a gathering, which is very encouraging to hear. So, if you're good in math, you can quickly work that out. 25 times 100, well, at least 2,500 people
In Tanzania.
in Tanzania. But I think what really stood out for me, in spite of this great stories that we heard, because when the youth movement was sharing, they were really just sharing almost how easy it is to gather all these people.
Yeah.
And then there was this one woman that I think turned everything upside down, and she's ministering among the general people on the street.
The
Not
working youth.
the working youth, not those in the colleges, the upper class, really the lower class, in the those living similarly, almost like living on the street.
Yeah.
And she just said, it is great to hear how you can gather people together, but where I come from, we cannot do that.
Yeah.
In fact, sharing the gospel is extremely difficult, because the more I want to share the gospel, the more people tells me that I am busy, I have work to do, I cannot do this.
I have to feed myself.
I have to feed myself, yeah. And it kind of raised this question. In fact, it certainly yesterday when we sat down for a day and we reflected on the stuff that was said, I think at one stage we had, like, just between the three of us, we had a meeting for almost an hour just talking about that one specific thing, as into how do we communicate Christianity to people if there is a strong emphasis on church planting. And although I don't think we have enough knowledge to make decisions, but certainly we have enough information that is raising questions. And I think one of the questions that came through that discussion was that often we will find people coming into communities where the community in its own way has taken responsibility for the issues and the challenges that are in that specific community. But then a church came in and a church gets planted, and for some reason it's almost like the responsibilities of the community has been transferred to, and it became the responsibility of the organization or the institutional
Tended
church,
out to the church.
the structured system. And because even from the locals you hear that we should support the church whom is doing all these things, and you don't hear the things, you don't hear people saying that the church is empowering the people so that the people can do it.
No.
The community is doing a lot less because of the establishing of the church
No. And
than what they have done in the past in regards to their own challenges.
it's like we saw in Livingston, where the pastors were just overwhelmed because they have to now, put structures in place that keeps the youth entertained. They have to arrange prayer meetings. They have to help economically with the people. And
They need to train the people.
they need to do
They
everything
need
at
to
this
equip the
stage.
people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that woman, when she made a statement, in just saying, it's easy for you to gather people, but when I speak on the ground, then with the everyday person, the gospel for them means a lot more than just a relationship. It means that I now need to do all these things that Christians portray it to be. I now need to do church planting. I now need to do training. I now need to do equipping. And therefore they hesitate in becoming Christians.
It's almost like instead of sharing a lifestyle, they're sharing job cards.
Or
Yeah,
programs. They're
or
sharing a
programs,
program. It's a
programs,
project.
Yeah.
So I think for me that was a very big eye opener, and certainly left us asking questions to ourselves with regards to church planting. And we're not saying church planting is wrong. I just think there's stuff that we need to look into, and certainly something I think we will need to spend more time researching, communicating, and asking. Just what does it mean to the general African on the ground Christianity? What does Christianity mean to them? But yeah, I think in a nutshell, as we are ending this also now, even in Tanzania, we've seen it in Zambia, we've seen it in Malawi, we've seen it in Tanzania. There's amazing things happening among the young people. There's energy, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of programs that are running. I think in December there's another big gathering in Dar es Salaam. And but yeah, almost similar to what we experienced in Blantyre. We had an older leader that was in the meeting, and as the youth shared some of their challenges, he again stood up and just said, you know what, guys, this is a God divine moment where we need to realize that there is a need for more platforms where young people can come together and share, where youth organizations can come together, raise the issues that needs to be addressed, and then collectively see how they can approach and meet the needs.
His statement was that other youth that are not connected in such structures spend more time facing the problem than solving the problem.
Yeah.
And that was quite profound, yeah.
Closing statements.
There's not much more to be said about Tanzania. I think God is definitely doing something. There's definitely a lot of potential. There's a lot of growth amongst the youth where we're seeing that the youth are taking initiative. They are taking the lead. They are looking at ministering to each other and solving each other's issues. And I think it's been one of the clearer places when when the young guy was sharing about, okay, well, we are looking at the sustainability of a missional lifestyle. When that young guy was sharing from it, they're saying, okay, well, you don't need to quit your job. You kind of, here's entrepreneurship. We're looking at the whole community and how do we develop the whole community. So I think there's a lot of positives when it comes out of that. But then there are there is still that kind of negative where you are looking at, there's still an underlying thing of, if I want to be part of a church movement or want to be part of a thing, I still need to be a pastor. Or I still need to give up everything, and I still need to serve in a traditional church format, which is not all bad. But if that's the only option you see, then that can provide a huge challenge to those people who are trying to actually engage and live out their love for Christ. Yeah.
It reminds me of my own life, and I think I shared it with the guys at Arusha, is that when I in the mid-90s realized that, you know, there's something that the Lord is leading me into, and I needed to work for the Lord. My understanding at that stage was that if you want to do something for the Lord, you have to become a pastor. Only pastors can do something for the Lord. No one else is equipped, or there's no other platform unless you're a pastor. And I think we are starting to sense a lot of that among the young people here in Arusha, but in other.
In most of the regions that we've been, it's an underlying trend that is happening, yeah.
If you want to do something for the Lord, you need to become a pastor. And once you're a pastor, it means you've got to quit your job, you've got to quit everything. And that's what we're talking about. Part of what we're referring to in the church planting thing, you know. It raises some questions which I think needs a lot more discussion.
Yeah.
And it would be great to get some feedback even from our listeners as into what do they say the impact of church planting is, and what do we actually communicate in that sense.
No, I think it's a much bigger discussion than giving a few facts. I think what I saw thus far is because of the young people, they've grown up in a troubled world, and I think this has almost developed a motivation within them to go and change the world to a better place for them to live in, and to create a better place. And I think with this motivation that's within them, there's also a thing of, I need to go and change it. I will, through me, the Lord will use me, and I will do this. And I think it's something that all the leaders will need to guide this, so that partnership will be protected in the future. And not everybody's trying to build their own kingdom and try to change it by themselves, but there will be a collective effort at the end of the day.
So guys, that is it from us. We thank you, we appreciate you, and please keep sending us your feedback, post, comment, and the next time we speak to you is feedback out of Kenya. Till later.
Hello,
Bye.
bye.